Military Broadcast Radio, the station that's giving veterans a voice.
Find us on the web at mbradio.us.
This entire military is one cohesive, dedicated force. And the threats to our nations, they don't sleep. They're watching our every move. Iran, Russia, China, North Korea, ISIS, Al-Qaeda. They may be watching this right now. Our military should not be mistaken for a cable news gabfest show. We don't care what you look like. We don't care who you voted for, who you worship, what you worship, who you love. It doesn't matter if your dad left you millions when he died or if you knew who your father was. We have been honed into a machine of lethal moving parts that you would be wise to avoid if you know what's good for you. We will not be intimidated. We will not back down. We've seen war. We don't want war. But if you want war with the United States of America, there's one thing I can promise you, so help me God. Someone else will raise your sons and daughters.
Opinions expressed in this program are those of the speakers and do not necessarily reflect the views or positions of any entities they represent.
Find us on the web at mbradio.us.
Military Broadcast Radio, the station that's giving veterans a voice.
Find us on the web at mbradio.us.
Opinions expressed in this program are those of the speakers and do not necessarily reflect the views or positions of any entities they represent.
Find us on the web at mbradio.us.
Join Terry with Tracer Rounds every Tuesday at 8 p.m. Eastern to hear interviews with veteran artists, veteran business owners, and businesses that support veterans. Catch us on Roku, Amazon Fire TV, and MB Radio. If you miss a show, you can listen again on Wreaths Across America Radio every Wednesday at 3 p.m. Eastern. Tune in to see if you are on target. MBR, giving veterans a voice.
Find us on the web at mbradio.us.
The interview of the week is brought to you by Jersey Mike's, a sub above.
Welcome back to the Tracer Rounds podcast, and I'm Terry, your host, and with me tonight is Joe Allen Christi, and I'm so excited. I have been watching him on TikTok and on YouTube and everything else, and so welcome to the studio. I'm so glad to have you.
Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
Absolutely, and you're going to sing us a song live tonight, right?
I am, yes, ma'am.
What are you going to sing us?
So this song is called Burning Down Small Town USA. It's this song I've been working on for a while, and I think I started it maybe 2 or 3 years ago, and this past year, I didn't know where to go with it, and then I showed it to a friend of mine, and he just sparked something in it, and we finished it in like 45 minutes, and it's a song about real life, kind of about people going, how you send your kids to college, you spend all your money, and sometimes they come back a different person, and you kind of lose track of them.
Yeah. Well, awesome. I can't wait to hear it.
Here we go. She's daddy's girl, homecoming queen, captain of the softball team. Loves her parents and they love her. Still sits between them at church. Money ain't great in a small Texas town, but her daddy's been saving since she's been around. Off to greener pastures, so they say. Burning down small town USA. Been 6 months since she's been gone. Christmas is here and she's coming home. A stranger just walked through that door. She don't eat turkey or pray anymore. His hard-earned money wasted away. His daughter hates him for supporting 2A. Taught to be mad at the world, full of hate. Burning down small town USA. Small town USA is burning down. What the hell's going on in these college towns? The devil's knocking at the door, trying to take out Mount Rushmore. The whole damn country's turning into California. Burning down small town USA. Mom can't sleep, she tosses and turns, sad she's lost her little girl. Dad stays busy trying to forget. He sees her face in every sunset. They call each Sunday, but her phone just rings. They're praying to hear her voice again. Everything they taught her, she just pushed away. Burning down small town USA. Small town USA is burning down. What the hell's going on in these college towns? The devil's knocking at the door, trying to take out Mount Rushmore. The whole damn country's turning into California. Burning down small town USA. She's a little older now. She's got a family of her own. She knows she's put them through hell, and finally picks up the telephone. Small town USA is burning down. What the hell's going on in these college towns? God works in mysterious ways, so keep the faith and he'll save the day when the whole damn country's turning into California. God bless small town USA. God bless small town USA.
Awesome.
Thank you.
So much for singing live. So H is in the house and he says #legend.
Oh, thanks, brother. I appreciate that.
Yeah, he's good people and
Definitely.
he talks
Love
very
that guy.
highly of you as well.
Thank you.
And Into the Weeds podcast host Amber is loving your song as well.
Oh, thanks, Amber. Appreciate that.
So I really appreciate you being here. You don't even know, and I really appreciate you singing live. There's not too many people that will actually do it because it's harder to sing live in this forum than it would be like if you had your whole sound equipment all set up,
Yeah.
you're all your stage and everything, and you're ready to go. So this environment's a little more tricky, and I appreciate you doing that because it sounded great.
Thank you so much.
So I thought we'd talk first, if you don't mind, about your military service.
Absolutely.
I know you were 19 when you enlisted, and you mentioned you were a delayed entry. What made you go into the Air Force?
Yeah, so it was a few things. First, my dad was in the Air Force. He was in the Air Force during Vietnam, and I think he did only 4 years. So, but he always talked about how he regretted not going in, not staying longer, and all the stories that he told me. And another thing that happened to me, I think I was 13 at the time. So my dad was a truck driver, and one of his friends that he worked with, and we grew up basically with his kids. And one of his oldest sons joined the Air Force, and his name was Frankie Rocha. And in his first base, I think it was in Oklahoma somewhere. I don't know exactly where, but I know he had passed away in a boating accident. So they had a funeral in Corpus Christi. And, of course, we went, and it was the first time I'd ever seen the military up close. They had the honor guard, and the way they moved, just like it was something I'd never seen in my life. So that mixed with the things my dad had taught me and the stories he told, I just knew that's what I was going to do. Like I knew from that time that's what I was going to do. So that's the reason why before I even started my senior year, I think it was August of '94, I entered the delayed enlistment program and went to MEPS. And yeah, I knew my whole senior year I needed to graduate because I was leaving. So
Right.
a little bit of extra pressure on myself, but yeah. And then I think I graduated end of May, early June, and then by July 26th I was gone. I joined the Air Force.
So what did you do in the military? What was your job specialty?
And my job, so I was a budget guy. Financial management is what they call it.
Oh, wow.
And you deal with members' pay, or you deal with the budget of your unit.
Mm-hmm.
So I did a lot of that, and what ended up being a great job, just because it's one of those skills that when you leave the military, they're always looking for.
Right. Yeah. It transitions well out of the
Yeah,
service.
absolutely.
Everyone always asks me, what service should I join? And I'm like, well, if you're smart, you'll join the Air Force because they live large and in charge, and their bases are always near a golf course.
Yeah,
They
definitely.
have 5-star hotels, and we live in the Army lives on the ground in a sleeping bag.
Yeah, yeah. I've had that conversation with my son because he's 16 and he's thinking about it too. So, yeah, it was great. I had really great assignments. It was I loved almost every minute of it.
Where were you assigned? What were some of your favorites?
Yeah, so first, I went to tech school. Of course, you go into basic Lackland, and then my tech school was at Shepherd Air Force Base, and then from there, you wait on your assignment, and I wanted to go overseas so bad. So I remember them coming in and say, "You're going to Altus Air Force Base," and
Oh, no.
I'm like, yes, because I was like, I never heard of that base. It must be overseas, and
No,
it
it's
was
in
literally,
Oklahoma.
yeah, it was literally what do you call an hour and a half north of where I was at. So I was like, oh, great.
You're like, darn my luck.
Yeah. But it ended up being a fun place, even though it was so small. I have made some great friends, lifetime friends. And
That's awesome.
yeah, I was only there a year.
Where'd you go from there?
So from there, that was like one of the dream assignments that I had when I was in the Air Force. And that was Howard Air Force Base in Panama.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and so basically, I got there in '97, and the base ended up closing down in '99. But I met my wife there. My daughter was born there, and so I still have ties to Panama when it comes to that and family. So yeah, you get there. I was a single guy when I got there. Just for a single guy that speaks a little bit of Spanish, you know what I mean? It was almost heaven.
Yeah, no, it sounds great. I've been wanting to go to Panama.
Oh,
I hear
it's
it's
gorgeous.
beautiful.
It is.
Yeah. So where else did you go besides, because you were in the service for 24 years, right?
Yeah, I did 24 years, and people are probably going to hate me because of all the great assignments I got. But from Panama, I ended up spending 10 years in total in Florida.
Oh, wow.
I was at Patrick Air Force Base on Cocoa Beach, and then and then I did a year in Korea, which was fun. I loved Osan. I was at Osan Air Base, and then went back to Florida because I actually went to Korea so I could stay in Florida, kind of thing. You do an unaccompanied tour without the family, and you kind of get preference of where you're coming back to.
Oh, very good.
So I went to Panama City, Florida, which is Tyndall Air Force Base.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it was great. Played a lot of golf, fished a lot.
Not a bad gig if you can get it, right?
Oh, not bad at all. And yeah, from there, then I got what I call my dream assignment, because it's a one deep finance slot, and it's rare for you to get those kind of places. And I got sent to the Netherlands for
Oh, wow.
yeah, and that was my favorite place, hands down, and enjoyed it there. We were on a small Dutch base, 140 Air Force, and yeah, I was the pay guy, and I was the budget guy for the base. So I knew everybody.
Right.
Everybody had to go through me for some reason, and
So everybody wanted to be your friend because they didn't want their
Exactly.
pay messed up. So they were going to treat you right.
exactly. Yeah,
You always treat the budget guy right. You never want to
Yeah.
make him mad because he might just forget to apply some money to your account or to your budget one year. You just got to be careful.
exactly. And that's I really took advantage of it through my whole Air Force career. Being the money guy, I try to help as many people as I could.
That's all.
And you got connections everywhere. When it comes to going firing the M16 for qualification to, just little things here and there where people were getting things done, kind of thing.
Yeah. So what was your biggest surprise about the Netherlands? I've always wanted to go, I've never been. And so I'm really curious what your biggest surprise about the country was.
The kids are so happy. My son went to Dutch school there because my daughter was about 11 or 12 when we got there. And my son was about to turn 2,
Mhm.
and when he turned 3, he started going to Dutch school. And you know, the families are so involved when it comes to in the mornings. You actually take your son to school on a bike,
Oh, wow.
and then you pick them up again at lunch, bring them home for lunch, and then drop them off again. And what you end up noticing is the mothers and the fathers, they'll take their kids in the morning, and then at lunchtime it's the grandma and grandpa that come pick them up on a bike, and then so super happy. And the amount of bike paths that are there is just insane. You don't have to worry about riding on the road, and the people are just very friendly.
Amber said amazing voice.
Thank you, Amber.
I've always wanted to go, and I've always thought they were probably like very active people, and so it sounds like they are based on what you've said.
Very active. And it's hard to find a Dutch person that doesn't speak English because they're one of the few countries that actually have TV in English there with subtitles.
Oh, wow.
It's
Well,
pretty
it's
pretty
easier
cool.
to learn a language, I think, if you watch a show in the language and then watch the subtitles too,
Yeah,
because you learn it, you
absolutely.
pick it up. Because I've been watching, well, when I was in Florida for a while with one of my friends while I was on duty, I was watching the novellas in Spanish
Oh yeah.
to learn Spanish. Yeah. So her and I
Yeah.
were trying to figure it out because she's much better at it than I am, though. Poquito español.
Yeah, my wife, that she loves her novellas.
They're very dramatic, I will say.
Yeah,
They're very dramatic.
definitely.
So, after the Netherlands, where else did you end up being assigned?
Yeah, so I tried to stay there as long as I could. I ended up being there almost 5 years.
Wow.
And then from there, I wanted to stay overseas. So basically, I did another tour in Korea, and just so I could get another overseas assignment. And initially, it was going to be Aviano in Italy, but it ended up changing for some assignment rule reason. But ended up going to England instead
That would have been
at
neat too.
Lake and Heath. Yeah.
Yeah, I've heard a lot about that, base. One of the chaplains I worked with, at Southcom, he, was assigned there for a while, and he
Oh,
talked
nice.
talked about it. He really liked that assignment.
Yeah, it's definitely my wife loved it. I liked it, but when you come from the Netherlands and you got to go to England, it's a whole different. I felt locked in just
Mhm.
because there's no bike paths. I was cycling a lot at that time, and I had to worry about riding on the road a lot.
Oh, yeah, that'd be kind of concerning.
Stressful, yeah.
Yeah. So, what was your final assignment with the military?
Yeah, so Lake and Heath was actually my final assignment. I had to do so when I got to Osan, I think I was right at 20 years, and in order to go to England, I had to finish my what do they call it, your contract. As far as when you're overseas, you got to finish your assignment before you can retire. So that's why I ended up retiring at 24 years. But yeah, so Lincoln Heath was the last place I was stationed in the Air Force.
So, what was your biggest takeaway from the military, would you say?
I think family and camaraderie. Like I said, I loved every minute of it. That's one thing. Once I retired, the thing I miss the most is my friends because everybody spread out. It's that one of those things where you don't get to see them every day. But the good thing is when you do see them, it's like you never left. It's like you pick up right where you left off. So
Right. Yeah.
that's the one thing that's been tough about being retired is missing my friends.
Yeah, it is hard, because you had a sense of community and everybody
Hmm.
understood, the dealings and the day to day in the military and what that looks like and what's required of you to be in the military on a full-time basis, or even if you're just a reservist like I was or National Guardsman, there's a component to it that somebody from the outside wouldn't understand about that
Exactly.
service.
And
So
it
yeah,
and it didn't help that, I retired in 2019 and then 2020 happened and it was COVID. So we're all stuck inside. So it's like
right.
even worse. Even it made it even a little bit more difficult. But I had music, had my family to rely on, so it ended up being okay.
Well, when COVID happened, you told me you're from the same area I'm from. I'm from DFW area, and so you've been in this area and kind of understand it. But when COVID hit here, there was nobody on the roads because I was still required to work because the job I had,
Oh yeah.
required you to go in. You couldn't work from home. You had to be in the office. So we were some of the essential workers that would have to go. But you wouldn't see anybody on the roadways at all. But you would see so many
Wow.
families walking and jogging and being out there together. And I'm like, well,
Yep.
if we learned anything from COVID, it's that family is important and that,
Absolutely.
exercising or like being outdoors with your family and just, getting back in shape or just like engaging with one another. Like I think
Yeah.
COVID insisted that everybody engage with their families again, whether they wanted to or not. I think it kind of, took away the pressure of having to commute, because DFW is so big and usually people commute 45 minutes to their job on a daily basis and then come home. So then by the time they come home, they've got an hour or two to spend with the kids and then that's it,
Exactly.
because they're
Yeah.
off to bed for school and whatnot. So the thing that I thought was the coolest thing ever was to see all the families out on the sidewalk walking or jogging or, doing some of the things they were allowed to do. But I thought that
Exactly.
was even, I didn't like the COVID shutdown. I didn't, but
Yeah, me
if there's
neither.
anything good about it, I think that may have been it.
Absolutely. I agree 100%.
So you mentioned to me that you didn't sing until you were older. Can you tell me how you decided to get started with that? And I want to talk about your triathlons and stuff too,
Sure.
but I kind of want to hear how you decided that music was how you wanted to get your voice out.
Yeah, it really, it started, I bought a guitar for me and my daughter. I bought one, for each of us. And, she was a teenager at the time. I thought it was something that we could do together, but, teenagers, they don't really want to hang out with their daddies.
Right.
So, so I ended up keeping my guitar and just practicing, learning, wanted to get better. And I just made a decision in life where I didn't want to spend my life going to work and then coming home and just watching TV. I wanted to do something. I wanted to learn something. And so I picked up a guitar. And shortly after that, I kind of realized, man, I want to sing because I've always loved singing, even when I was younger, but I couldn't sing.
Yeah.
I would just sing along with the radio. And yeah, so I just started working on it, realizing, okay, maybe I should take some vocal lessons. And I've been taking vocal lessons probably, I think I started taking vocal lessons when I was in England. And so it's been about 7 or 8 years I've been taking vocal lessons and I still take them. Music is one of those things where I call it my craft. So I want to keep getting better and better. So yeah, I just kept playing. I still, a matter of fact, I got a book in today for guitar to get better at guitar because there's so many things that I want to get better at.
Yeah.
And it's just one of those things where I just made that decision. I wanted to learn the guitar and then it turned into singing and now playing live in front of people, playing with a band, being the lead singer of a band, recording music and writing songs. It took me a while to be able to write a song. And once I finally got it, they've been coming here and there. So
How many would you say you've written? How many songs?
I'd say probably in the 30s.
30s.
Yeah. Some of them are bad. Some of them are,
Well, some of them maybe not be bad, but maybe they just need like that spark. You were talking about the spark with that burning down small town USA that you just
Yep.
needed someone to just jump in there for a second and then all of a sudden you had it. Like it was perfect.
Yeah,
It was
no
magic.
doubt. Yeah, there's probably stuff I could go revisit and maybe make it better. It's just one of those things when, you know, it all takes practice. It takes a lot of writing down your thoughts on whether it be on your phone or in in a notebook. And but it's so it's so gratifying. It's so therapeutic. I've become like, I say this all the time. If you want to be a songwriter, get used to crying because you're going to cry a lot by yourself. You'll be crying by nobody's around while you're writing a song, and something just hits you.
Yeah. Just a spark of an idea and then it's there.
Yep.
I wish I was
Exactly.
creative like that. I don't really think I am. I mean, I would love to be writing songs and whatnot, but I certainly couldn't sing them, but I could
Well,
maybe write at some point.
yeah, it takes time. Like I think I tried to write a song for about 3 years before I actually wrote one.
Yeah.
But it's just one of those things. It's a muscle. You got to keep doing it until it happens, and then once it happens, it's like, wow, okay, I'm kind of understanding. And it's something you're always going to learn. The more you learn, the shorter the song becomes because you're able to put a story into a shorter amount of time. when you first start off, everything's long. You're like realizing that, okay, this is just too much. And then as you learn, you don't always have to fill in the blanks. You just say something and let the audience do that. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah.
So,
Yeah. That's really cool. So what's your favorite song you've written to date?
this is Burning Down's probably one of my favorites. I think the other one that is my favorite is called Grandpa's Fishing Hole. And
Yeah, I heard that one.
yeah, and that's the one I wrote for my grandpa. And it's actually has the most streams out on Spotify out of all my songs.
Oh, wow. How long has that one been out?
That one I think I released in, I want to say July of 22. I would say.
So you've written most of the songs that you've written between like 22 and 25. So like 3 years you've written most of your songs.
Yeah, I think the same year that I wrote Grandpa's Fishing Hole, I recorded it. So yeah, it was around 22 is when I probably wrote my first song. Yeah.
And you got out of the military in 19, you said.
2019, correct.
So what did you do right out of the military?
Yeah, so coming out of the military, it's kind of a stressful time because you're looking for a job, especially when you're overseas. You don't have those connections stateside. Right. So I started looking everywhere. Speaking about learning things, I learned how to snowboard when I was in the Netherlands. And nice. So whenever I started applying for jobs, I looked for mountain places. Right. So that's kind of why I ended up in Colorado, because a lot of the jobs that I applied for were in Colorado.
Yeah.
So I ended up joining a company called Integrated Data Services, which is it's a contractor for the Space Force, where I'm doing.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I'm an admin for a financial system that the Space Force and the Air Force uses.
That's very cool.
Yeah. Pretty decent job. I've been with the company, so I'm still with the company, and yeah, I really like the job. I've gotten to work from home and spend a lot of time with the family.
That's really nice. I guess that's another bonus, if there is a bonus to COVID, was the ability for a lot of people to work from home and not have to go back into the office, or at least have a hybrid schedule where that's
exactly.
a few days in and a few days out, because it does give you a lot more opportunity to spend time with family and just maybe your hobby or develop your craft, because you're not doing the day-to-day commute. And you've got more time, or like your lunch hour, you get a full lunch because you can just stay right there in your house and do whatever you need to do. So it really did kind of give you an opportunity to just kind of reset, I think.
Yeah, definitely. It does do that. And like I said, it's not always so busy where you can't pick up your guitar just here for a little, 15 minutes at a time, take a break, which is nice to have your guitar right next to you.
Right. And then if you have a thought too about music, you can hurry and write it down and then go back to work.
Exactly.
That's awesome. Well, if you don't mind, I think we'll play The Other Side. And then once we play it, then if maybe you can tell us the inspiration behind it and maybe how long it took you to write it, that kind of thing, if you don't mind.
Absolutely.
All right. Well, we'll play Joe Allen Christi, The Other Side.
Stuck in this city 5 days a week, surrounded by streetlights and the folks I call sheep. Their only desire is to pass judgment on me for loving my country and the things that I eat. Over that mountain, got a small piece of land. It really ain't much, but a man understands. On the other side, it takes a real man, hunting and fishing, working the land. On the other side, I'm the best part of me. A hammer and a shotgun is all that I need. This 5-bedroom house in a damn HOA, a place I don't own if I don't do what they say. Talk about prison, it's the worst kind of hell. It's like paying closer to God. On the other side, it takes a real man, hunting and fishing, working the land. On the other side, I'm the best part of me. A hammer and a shotgun is all that I need. From under their foot, there is no escape till we all stand together for the rights that God gave. On the other side, it takes a real man, hunting and fishing, working the land. On the other side, I'm the best part of me. A hammer and a shotgun is all that I need. Hey Brandon, I dare you, come tread on me. I'll show you the end of this AR-15. I'm not the type to go looking for a fight, but keep poking the bear. I'll show you my stripes. On the other side, I'm the best part of me. A hammer and a shotgun is all that I need.
Military Broadcast Radio, the station that's giving veterans a voice.
Find us on the web at mbradio.us.
Opinions expressed in this program are those of the speakers and do not necessarily reflect the views or positions of any entities they represent.
Welcome back to the Tracer Rounds podcast, and I'm Terry, and with me tonight is Joe Allen Christi, and you heard his song, The Other Side. So can you tell us a little bit about how I understand, the concept, but why did you decide to write that, and how did you, all the guitars in there, like you said, are crazy good.
Yeah.
So how did you put all that together? It's amazing.
Yeah. So basically, it's just one of those things. I have this dream, and hopefully it'll come to fruition. But living in the city everything's complex. There's everything seems the closer you get to a city, the less sense things make.
Right.
And when you go into the mountains, you got a shotgun, you got a hammer. That's it's everything's simple. And the way things are in the world these days, I know everybody doesn't agree with me, but it's just the feelings put down on paper. And the part where you live in a 5-bedroom house and you're in an HOA and they tell you what to do with something you own. So
Right.
it's just little things like that kind of seem to make less sense. It's when you're in a city, but then you go into the mountains and everything kind of just simplifies, and that's what I love about it. And the music, one of my friends who produces my music, he's out in Nashville. His name's Ben Miller, and he's the one that did the solo on there and produced it. And we went into a studio in Nashville called Studio 2300 and laid it down. And actually, the owner of that studio is actually the drummer for Jody Messina.
Oh, really? Oh, wow.
Yeah, yeah, really cool guy.
That's really cool. So, you have been on, so we were talking before the show, and you have been with on the Hero Stock stage a couple of times. And where else
Yes.
have you played?
I've played all over Colorado mostly. We did a lot of state fairs this past last summer. We did some rodeos. I was with a band called Winchester Road,
Okay.
and we really made a lot of traction really quick. And unfortunately, moving back to Texas here in the next couple of months, I had to leave the band, but it was really a great experience. I got to take them up to Hero Stock. We played there. I played there 1 year, just a solo acoustic gig, and then the second year, I took the whole band and we got to go up right before Scotty Hastings went up, and that was amazing. And Scotty Hastings is an amazing guy. I've met him a few times, and I had the privilege to play music with him till 3 o'clock in the morning. That first time I went to Hero Stock, yeah, it was a pre-party, and I was with Scotty and Barbara Sim, who you think you might know.
Yeah, yeah.
And we stayed up till 3 a.m. playing music for everybody. It was great.
That sounds like a blast.
It
I can't
was.
imagine just being a fly on the wall listening to the music
Oh,
and the conversation that must have gone on.
it was great.
So I wanted to talk about, you were talking about that you did triathlons too. I wanted to hear a little
Yeah.
bit more about that.
Absolutely. Yeah. So it's something that I never really thought I'd ever do. I remember specifically when I was stationed in the Netherlands, I was running the three miles here and there, but I always had that feeling. I was like, why would I had a first sergeant who did marathons, and I remember having this specific conversation with him. I was like, why would anybody want to run more than 3 miles?
Right. On purpose.
And I don't know what it was. Like I got into that phase where I just got tired of just going home and watching TV.
Yeah.
And I started doing a little bit further runs, and then I started listening to a podcast. It was a Spartan race podcast, and then that got me to sign up for a Spartan race. And then I started pushing the limit. I started getting to like 12, 13 miles, and then I did several Spartan races, and then I started trying to do like little more intense things. Like for instance, I did I was stationed in the Netherlands, and I flew to England to do a Spartan race. It was a Spartan Beast, which is about 13 to 16 mile obstacle course race.
Yeah.
And then my plan was to fly back to the Netherlands the next day and run a half marathon. So
Oh gosh.
I did a Spartan Beast, spent the night, got on the plane. My wife picked me up and drove me straight to the half marathon. And I did that. I almost thought I wasn't going to do it because I was really tired,
I bet.
but I did it. And people were trying to kind of convince me that I'm going to hurt myself. And yeah, the body's an amazing thing. And I just kept pushing it from there. Then I got to Korea, where I was without the family for a year, so I had lots of time in my hands. And the first weekend I got to Korea, I met up with a couple of people that were in a runners group, and we ran from, a lot of people would know this, be familiar with the bases, but there's Osan, then there's Camp Humphreys, which is about 18 to 20 miles from each other there in Korea. And so we would run there on Saturdays from Osan to Korea, and then take a bus back. So depending on the route you took, it would be up to like 20 miles. And I just started running with this group, and their motivation just kind of rubbed off on me. And then I was like, I always wanted to do because I had started cycling as well when I was in the Netherlands. So I was familiar with cycling. I just never swam.
Yeah.
So basically what I did was like, you know what? I want to run. I want to do a triathlon, and their can-do attitude kind of rubs off on you. So you feel like there's nothing you can't do. So I signed up for a triathlon in June. It was a half Ironman. Usually people start with a sprint triathlon where it's really short.
Yeah.
But I decided to go with the half Ironman, and when I signed up, I never swam before. Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
And the race was, I believe it was like October 4th of 2015 is when the race was, and I signed up June of 2015. So I just spent every day in the pool. I do my run in the morning, bike on the weekends, and then every night I'd go to the pool. And it didn't look pretty. Like I didn't think I was going to get there.
Right.
But eventually, a month before the race, I got to being able to swim a mile. And so I was like, okay, maybe I can do this. But I'd never swam in open water, so this is a lake that you got to swim in. It's not a lane pool where you got the
Right.
edge to hold on if something
Yeah.
happens.
Right. Yeah. It's much different. Definitely.
Yeah, especially for your first swim, you're like, oh, it was very intimidating. I actually got to the middle of the lake and almost started to panic, but I was able to calm myself down. I just kind of got on my back a little bit, trying to calm myself, and then I
Right.
got back at it and ended up doing it. And I think it was the 6 hours and 25 minutes is the length of time it took me to finish it. And I ended up doing 2 more half Ironmans from there, doing a lot of Spartan races. I even did a Spartan race in Sparta, Greece,
Oh, wow. That must
which
have been
was
really interesting to do it there.
amazing, gorgeous. We got to run past the ruins of the Spartans.
Mm-hmm.
I did a race in Slovakia, which was called an Ultra Spartan, which that one would have been probably 30 something miles. Unfortunately, I didn't finish that one after 9 hours and 15 minutes. So basically the way they had it set it up, it was it was one loop you had to do 3 times.
Mm-hmm.
And each loop was probably 4 hours to complete.
Oh my
But
gosh.
and I ended up cramping up really bad. So at 9 hours and 15 minutes, they cut my bracelet because I missed the cutoff by 15 minutes. And I was I was not happy. But they saved me. They saved me from myself because I really probably wouldn't have. I was cramping so bad and I wouldn't quit. So
Wow.
they saved me from myself basically.
That's incredible, though. I can't imagine going that long. I mean, I'm
Yeah.
all for running. I'm good to run 3 miles, whatever. That's
Yeah.
no problem. But when you're getting into 20 miles plus, and then you're adding all these other things on there too, I'm like, I don't think I'm who enough for that.
It's such a every Ironman that I finished, I cried like a baby every time. It's because you cannot skip out on training. Like you have to get up at 5 to 7 miles. At night, you got to go swim. And then on Saturday, you got a long bike ride, whether it be 30 to 50, 60 miles. And then after that, you put your bike down, put it up, and then you go run 5 miles. So you get your legs used to the going from the bike to the run. So when you finish it, you feel so accomplished. And I got to have my kids there with me, cheering me on at some of the races, and it kind of rubs off on them. There's nothing that can't do that you put your mind to. So
Yeah.
it just changes your mindset. And I think it's helped me tremendously with music because the whole thing about endurance racing is you want to put yourself in those uncomfortable situations, and going and singing music for people is
That's MJ. She's from the world
hey
of
MJ.
conscious positive thinking, and she's my co-host on Beyond the Headlines on Mondays too.
Awesome. It was great. Thanks for saying that. But yeah, you put yourself in those uncomfortable situations, and then when you go sing in front of people, you're used to it, kind of thing.
Yeah, I mean, it is like you said, it is part of that whole performance thing because if you're out there doing the runs, doing, the biking, all the things in front of all the people, then going and sitting and playing music seems quite tame comparatively.
Yeah, and it's been about 7 years since I did my last race, so I'm definitely not in the same shape.
Would you ever do it again?
Yes, definitely. I'm actually thinking about trying to get back in shape and hopefully do a triathlon with my son.
Oh, wow. That'd be
But
cool.
I'm far away, so I'm starting up again. I actually started running a couple weeks back and pulled my calf, so I haven't been able to run the past couple of weeks.
Oh,
But
gosh.
I'm looking to get back into it. I actually went to the pool for the first time last week, and yeah, so eventually I want to be able to run another triathlon.
Wow, good for you. That's really
Thank you.
awesome. I mean, that's an amazing feat. I'm telling you, I am, my hat's off to you because,
Thank
I'm all for working out and physical fitness and all that, but that's to the extreme. And that
Yeah.
takes some willpower and some fortitude to keep on with that training and that regiment of, just each progressive thing to keep you through a triathlon or one of those Ironman competitions.
Yeah, and you know, a lot of it has to do with who you surround yourself with. Because if you're around people like that, golly,
It's
it's
motivating.
such motivation. And the thing is, you don't realize a lot of times, you know, you'll do a run, you think, oh man, I've taken it to the extreme. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But you haven't. There's so much more you can do. Because I've been to the point where on that race in Slovakia, I literally, my pinkies were cramped. Every part of my body was cramped. And I had to lay down against a tree and just little by little feed myself. And then the cramping would go away. And then I'd run another 2 or 3 miles, do an obstacle, and it happened again. And I'd just
Wow.
eat. And so it's an amazing thing what the body can do if you just try it.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. H and I were talking about this last night on the show we were on. He was talking about that the military pushes you far beyond what you think your body can actually do.
Yes.
You think that, oh no, there's no way I can do that. And then with military training, with the regimented, exercising and forced ruck marches and whatever, you find out you can do a whole lot more than you ever thought you could.
Yeah.
It's really our mind that stops us from doing things that are great
Yeah.
like that. I mean, like we
100%.
just talk ourselves out of it. It's all about, like you said, who you surround yourself with, and then how they are, empowering you to do your best too, because they're giving their all, and then you're like, well, I got to do it too if they're doing it. So it's,
Yeah.
it's good peer pressure, I would say.
Absolutely.
So
Definitely.
MJ is asking, how do you do the breathing to train your lungs to do something like that?
Yeah, so it's basically long and slow. So the thing when it comes to training is whenever you're training for our triathlons, most of your training work, especially if you're just building up your endurance, is going to be between your heart rate between 130 and 140. I was able to do long 20-mile runs and be in that zone where I'm 130 to 140. But if you're going too fast all the time, you end up injured. So the key is to have your 1 or 2 days out of the week where you're pushing yourself a little bit, but for the most part, long and slow, keeping track of your heart rate, and that's kind of how you build your endurance. You have to do that long and slow kind of running, and so it may not be slow. There's people that can keep their heart rate between 130 and 140, and they're running an 8 minute mile pace or 7 minute mile pace. It just depends on you. You just gotta listen to your body. I always wore a heart rate monitor while I was running, and
That's
I
a good
made
idea.
sure, I made sure that I was within that zone for the most part.
Yeah, and that's good advice too. If somebody's wanting to pick that up and start
Yep,
that type of training, it is good to use those devices that will kind of tell you where you're at, so okay, maybe I need to back off, or maybe I need to increase my speed or my pace, so that I get the best out of the training.
exactly. And there's a difference. Like, so if when you're trying to increase your endurance, you're aerobic. Like I said, you're between 130, 140. When you're anaerobic, you're above that 150, 155, and you only want to do that once or twice a week, if that.
Yeah. And the Army always talked about fartlek training, which meant
Mm,
you go fast, you go slow, throughout the course of your run or your whatever exercising that you're doing.
yep.
And that would help you too, is to kind of do a faster pace and then a slower pace, kind of like,
Yep. Intervals. Yep.
yeah,
For sure.
kind of monitor what's going on with your heart, so you don't
Yeah.
overwork it too much.
Absolutely.
So where are you going to be coming up for your shows and whatnot? Where are you going to be this summer? Do you have
Yeah. So this summer,
anything
like,
planned out?
yeah, I'm actually these past couple of months have been tough because I played a couple of shows here and there. Usually they're fill-in shows just because I don't know when my house is going to sell and when I'm going to leave here, because I'm actually on in between Colorado. I'm actually moving to Texas, so my house is for sale. Been working on getting it ready. So what I've been doing is just playing pop-up shows. Like if somebody can't make a show, I say, hey, call me if you need something. I can't plan ahead because I don't know I'm going to be here.
Right.
But as soon as I get to Texas, I'm going to hit it hard. I should be in Texas hopefully by the end of July, early August. And I'm hoping once I get there to just start booking shows. I have a radio promoter that promotes my music in Texas,
Oh, good.
and he's out in the Fort Worth area, and I'll probably be playing some shows up there.
Well, when you do, let me know, because I'm going to
I
come
will.
for sure.
I will definitely.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. Would you want to play just like a little bit of Grandpa's
Yeah, I can
that song?
definitely do that.
If
Let
you
me
want,
just.
if you want to.
Yeah, I can do that. Just give me 1 second. Yeah, this is Grandpa's Fishing Hole is one that I wrote, and it's one of my favorites just because, you know, my grandpa meant so much to me. He passed away when I was 11 years old, but I was very close with him. You know, my parents divorced when I was young, and you know, parents they don't get along, they're fighting on the phone, whatever it may be. I just felt like whenever I was with my grandpa, I kind of had that I could be a kid kind of thing, you know.
In a safe place.
Yeah, exactly. And that's
You
kind of
didn't have to choose between parents. You could just enjoy the, relationship with your
exactly.
grandpa.
Exactly. All right. So this one's called Grandpa's Fishing Hole.
Awesome.
And you can find this on Spotify anywhere. And so here we go. I was just a kid from a broken home. Mom and Dad couldn't get along. Spent many nights crying myself to sleep. Only saw Dad 4 days a month, sometimes less 'cause he drove a truck. But Grandpa was there and he was on the road. And riding the shotgun in Grandpa's truck, headed to his favorite fishing spot. It's the only place where I could be a kid. It's where I caught my first fish. He laughed 'cause I was scared of it. We talked about life and how to be a man. He said, don't put off what you can do today. Say what you mean what you say. Find yourself a good one, don't let her go. Life lessons learned at Grandpa's Fishing Hole. When Grandpa passed, I took it hard, but he lives forever in my heart. I met a girl, fell in love. I remembered what Grandpa said. So on the bank under a willow tree, I asked her if she'd marry me. Didn't think that fishing hole could mean any more to me. 'Cause it's where I caught my first fish. He laughed 'cause I was scared of it. We talked about life and how to be a man. Said don't put off what you can do today. Say what you mean what you say. Find yourself a good one, don't let her go. Life lessons learned at Grandpa's Fishing Hole. Well, our kids love that fishing spot. They fish, swim, and laugh a lot. We picnic on the bank under the willow tree. Well, I miss that man, but we're making new memories. It's where they caught their first fish, where their mom and I had our first kiss. Grandpa's gone, but he lives in the words he said to me. Don't put off what you can do today. Say what you mean what you say. Find yourself a good one, don't let her go. Life lessons learned at Grandpa's Fishing Hole. Can't imagine life without Grandpa's Fishing Hole.
Yay, That
Thank
is
you.
so good. Wow. That really hits your heart.
Yeah.
You know, you can really relate it to your own experience growing up and the person that meant a lot to you. And obviously, your grandpa meant a lot to you. You
Oh,
can tell, you can hear
yeah.
it in the lyrics and in your voice and in your emotion around this song. It's so awesome.
Thank you.
I
Yeah,
appreciate you
it's
playing that.
tough. So a lot of times I'll break down.
Yeah, no, I can see why. I can definitely see why.
Yeah,
Wow. That's it just grabs you right here for sure.
thank you.
Is there anything you want to say before we get off? We've got about 4 minutes. Is there anything you want to talk about? Anything coming up? Any projects or anything that
Yeah,
you're
I
wanting to put out?
I do have a new song that's going to be coming out in I think in August time frame. It's called Back to Loving You, and I recorded that in Texas. It's one of those I recorded with Burning Down Small Town USA, but Burning
Okay.
Down was the first one to release. And yeah, just if people are in Texas, keep an eye out for me because I'm going to be all over the state playing music. I'm just in a transition period at the moment, and I'm really dying to get back out there because I haven't been playing as often as I want. So yeah, if you're out in Texas, you can follow, and then also follow me on TikToks, on Spotify, Instagram, wherever it may be. I'm on every platform. I have my own website, joeallenchristi.com, where you can buy. This is my hat here that you can buy. They're
Nice.
trucker hats, and then this is my shirt for Burning Down Small Town USA.
I like it. That's
And
on your it's on your website.
on my website, yep.
Okay.
And I actually make the shirts and the hats here. So
Oh, do you really?
yeah, I do a lot. I try, being an independent artist, it's not easy. So if people ever wonder what you can do for an independent artist is share their music, follow them on Spotify, and because we do everything on our own, and it's just one of those things where every little bit helps. Even a follow helps. Everything helps because it helps us get our music out. And like I said, we're doing everything ourselves basically.
Right, for sure. Oh, MJ, she put this out here too. She says, being a fishing woman, I really appreciate and connect with the song, Joe. Thank you for being you and giving above and beyond and more than you realize.
Thank you so much, MJ. I really appreciate you so
She
much.
also said, come to Mujazi Center and do a lawn concert. So she's up in Pennsylvania. She calls it Pennsyltucky.
Oh, okay.
But so I guess it must be pretty close to the Kentucky border. But she's got a retreat she's building up there. She was in Florida too. She was south of Miami. She's gonna like shoot me because I can't remember the little town. But I went to her Salt Cave retreat, and it was really
okay.
cool. And so she's building another retreat up where she is because she just moved out of Florida. So
Oh, nice. Yeah, I actually, there's a good possibility I might go up there. One of my buddies that I write with, his name is Kenny Curcio. We wrote a few songs together. He actually helped me with this song, and then he just released a song that we wrote called Headlight Dirt Road Dancing.
oh wow.
And he's in the Jersey, Philadelphia area.
Okay.
So I'm hoping sometime soon to go up there and do some shows with him.
Yeah, well, then you'll have to keep us informed, and then we'll let MJ know, and maybe she can coordinate with you.
Awesome. That'd be great.
That'd be great. So any advice you'd want to give to somebody starting out in the either in the military or in the music career, anything like that you would give just a kind of a heads up to?
Absolutely. First things first, you're never too old to learn anything. Don't ever give up. Just keep learning. Like I said, I didn't pick up guitar until I was 38. I'm 49 now, I'll be 50 next year. I'll be taking vocal lessons forever. There's nothing you can't do. Just pick up the guitar, keep it in your hands as much as possible. Honing your craft. Like I said, it's never too late. And if you want resources, you can reach out to me as well because I did Warrior Song. That's out in Atlanta. I've been to Hero Stock. So if you're looking for connections and you even want to write a song with me, if you're a musician, I love writing with other people. You can find me at Joe Allen Christi at gmail.com.
So she said she's northeast Pennsylvania, 12 miles south of the New York border is where she's at.
Gotcha. Yeah, you definitely got to check out my buddy Kenny Curcio. He's awesome.
Very cool. Well, we've got to go because we're right at our time. But Joe, I want to thank you so much for coming on. You don't even know how happy you made me, and especially since you sang live twice and I put you on the spot, and I really appreciate you doing
That's what I'm here for.
Well, we're here to support your music. So
Thank you.
whatever we can do to help you out, you just let us know because we're happy to support you.
Thank you so much.
You're on MBR, where we're giving veterans a voice, and tonight's voice was to Joe Allen Christi. So thank you, Joe.
Bye. Thank you.
All right, bye.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for tuning in to Military Broadcast Radio. As we wrap up today's show, we want to remind you that the podcast of today's episode will be available right after we go off the air. So if you missed any part of the show or want to listen again, be sure to check it out. And remember, we're here to support and honor our veterans. Your stories and experiences matter, and we are committed to giving you a platform to share them. That's right. We're here to give our veterans a voice. So don't forget to catch the podcast and stay connected with us. Giving our veterans a voice.